Look, I get it. If you can only go to Disneyland once a year or once every 10 years or once in your lifetime, you're gonna wanna hit the big attractions. You're gonna wanna ride Space Mountain, you're gonna wanna hop on Indiana Jones, maybe you're gonna wanna watch the fireworks show. There's a reason those things have such a huge amount of people going to them every day. It's because they're great, and I do think that is the proper way to do a whirlwind Disney trip. But even if you're a Disney fanatic who goes to the park all the time and thinks they've done everything, there are some really cool things in Disneyland you might never have done. And I'm not talking about Club 33 or the Dream Suite or those exclusive things that you need to be super rich or super lucky to get into. I am just talking about things that you could walk on down, head in the park, and do right now. Assuming that the park is open and assuming that you are able to walk in the park right now. Yeah, can we just roll the intro? No, that was fine. Roll the intro. This first one you've probably heard of, maybe you've done it once or twice, but people tend to forget that this is something you can do on a normal trip to Disneyland. I mean, I rarely remember that you can do it, but you can walk through Sleeping Beauty's castle. That big castle at the end of Main Street on opening day of Disneyland, you couldn't actually get into, but after a lot of people telling Walt Disney, hey, I want to go in there, just 2 years later, they built this walk-through attraction where you can walk up some stairs, down a hallway, and look at the story of Sleeping Beauty, which I think is really awesome. It's a fun little diversion. It never really has a line. And right now it's actually undergoing a renovation for the next couple months. So I don't know how much they're gonna change, but hopefully it only gets better. If you've never done it before and are going in the spring or later, check it out. This next one is a little silly, but don't pass it up. It is the Frontierland Shooting Arcade. Wow, that was... Can we cut that one out? Okay, cool. This is the little shooting gallery that you'll walk past in Frontierland. I've been going to the park all my life, and I would always walk past that thing and say, oh, look at that stupid little thing over there. That looks silly, and just totally ignore it. But last time I was in Disneyland, which was all the way back in March of 2018, I put the quarters in. It only cost a little bit of money. I know it's extra money when you're already in the park, but it barely costs anything if you have some extra quarters. And you get to shoot for a good long time. It's not like 2 shots and then you gotta put in more quarters. You get to shoot at these targets, and it's the most interactive shooting gallery of the sort I've ever seen. I mean, every little target you hit will trigger some grand thing that'll happen. Maybe not grand, but something fun that'll happen. Again, this isn't something amazing. It's no Space Mountain, but this is just a cute thing that I had so much fun with. I sat there with my girlfriend Aurora, and we just did it a couple times until we had hit every target, and it's a good memory. So it's something you might often pass up, but if you haven't tried it, just put in the quarters and give it a shot. Cut that one too. We're gonna stick in Frontierland and talk about the Golden Horseshoe. Now this restaurant saloon building, I feel like does not get as much love as it deserves, and a lot of people have never even set foot in there. There is a restaurant in there, maybe not Disney's best food, but it is very good food, and more importantly than that, you get a show while you eat. There's awesome old Western shows that go in there, lots of humor, lots of music. You know, when you're thinking of a Disney show, you think of Fantasmic and parades and fireworks shows, but these little shows off to the side in Disneyland are where some of my favorite Disney memories are. Not to mention, the Golden Horseshoe has been there since the park opened, and it was one of Walt Disney's favorite places to hang out. And you know, I say it all the time and I don't know what it means, but I feel like some of Walt's magic is just in the Golden Horseshoe. So if you haven't checked it out, kick open those saloon doors and get escorted out of, and eat and watch a show. Another nearby thing you may have never done is hopping aboard one of Davy Crockett's Explorer canoes. These are the canoe boats you'll see people paddling in the rivers of America. They're not open all year round, but when they are, I was gonna say they're a good time, but I have to admit, I've never done this myself. They look like a good time, and my last couple visits, I've really wanted to hop aboard them. Maybe it's a little more work than you're expecting to do when you're in a Disney park, but these canoes go all around the whole Rivers of America loop. You get to see that back side of the island that you otherwise really only see if you're on the train, or I guess the Mark Twain. The riverboat's another thing kind of paired with the canoes. You can hop aboard the riverboat. You can hop aboard the riverboat, and a lot of people don't do that. So just get on the boats on the Rivers of America and see a side of Disney you might never have seen before. And while we're talking about the Rivers of America, when was the last time that you got out to Tom Sawyer's Island? Or I guess the Pirate's Lair on Tom Sawyer's Island. I know I for sure don't go there every trip, and I know plenty of people who have never set foot on that island at all. But on a busy day when there's just lines and crowds and chaos, take the little canoe boat raft thing, whatever you want to call it. Raft is probably what you should call it, and get on over to the island. There's not rides out there, there's not restaurants out there, there's not a whole lot of what you typically think of Disneyland out there. But man, there's a lot of adventure. There's a lot of caverns to crawl through and forests to walk through and water to look over. And it's a lot of fun. It's totally different. You know, it's one of those things that, like the whole video is about, you won't really typically do on a busy one-day crazy trip to Disneyland. But if you've got the time and you're looking just for something new, go over to the island, explore every inch of it, and say, wow, I liked that. Maybe I'll do it next time. This next one is a little bit different than the ones we've heard so far. It's not so much an attraction, but it's one of the coolest souvenirs I've ever gotten in Disneyland, and I legitimately did not know it existed until I was there back in March. It is the Silhouette Studio on Main Street. And let me show you here. Let me show you what they can do over at the Silhouette Studio on Main Street. This here, a little dusty. I should have dusted. Right here. This is me and my girlfriend Aurora standing there as a silhouette. Now it looks like, okay, cool. That looks pretty cool, but the experience of watching someone make it was so special. This lady's there in this little tiny little room on Main Street, and you sit down in a chair and sit profile, and she looks at you. She has just a piece of black construction paper and just starts snipping. And somehow, some way, she could just snip you. I mean, maybe I don't have eyelashes quite that big, but let's do. Wow. Wow, that's pretty cool. So maybe it's not for everyone. It's a little more expensive than the average souvenir would be, but I think it's really special, and the experience of going in there and having it cut out was just so cool. I gotta recommend it to everyone. It's been there since opening day on Main Street, the Silhouette Studio. This last one I kind of debated including because it rides the line or the rail of what counts as exclusive and not, and I myself have never even done it. But you're allowed to sit in the front room, the cone nose of the monorail. If you get to the station before the train is there and it's kind of a slow day or whatever, you can talk to the person seating people, ask if you could sit in the front. They'll allow parties up to 4 people to sit there, and you might have to wait a train or two. But if you get to sit in the front, I just imagine it would be the coolest experience. And anyone's allowed to do it. It just depends on who's assigning seats and if they're letting kids do it first and how long you're willing to wait. But the monorail's a fun ride. Looking out the side windows is cool. You get to see, entrance to Disneyland and California Adventure over there, and then you come into Tomorrowland. It's a really cool ride, and I gotta imagine seeing the whole panoramic view from the front would only be even cooler. So if you get a chance to ride in the front of the monorail, take it. Well, there you have it, 7 things in Disneyland you might never have tried before. Now, maybe some of these things you have willingly chosen not to do because they look lame to you, but I assure you, some of these quirky little non-e-ticket attractions are where my favorite Disneyland memories have been made. It's all Disneyland, and Disney puts so much effort and so much love into everything. If you have the time, try everything out in the parks. And if there's something I missed, some little fun side attraction that you don't think gets very much attention, tell me in the comments below. And also, which of the things I listed, is this the top right? Yeah, there's the eye. Wow. Which of the things I listed is the one you are most excited to try? Now, if you've done them all, don't answer. But if you haven't done one of the things up in that poll there that you want to try next time you're in the park, give it a click for me, because I like polls because they're fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't know how to end videos. One day I'll figure it out. But until then, I'll see you in 2 weeks.